We turn now to this story. Tonight, 3 Wilmington, North Carolina police officers have been fired after a routine audit of a patrol car camera uncovered what authorities describe as extremely racist comments toward African Americans. Here's CBS's Jeff Pegues.
An internal probe by the Wilmington Police Department reveals hate-filled conversations with 3 veteran officers. Officer Kevin Piner is heard telling Corporal Jesse Moore that the protest would soon lead to a civil war and that he is ready. He goes on to tell Moore that he was going to buy a new assault rifle and soon we are just going to go out and start slaughtering them expletive N-words. Piner says a civil war is needed to wipe them off the expletive map. That'll put them back about 4 or 5 generations. Later, during a phone call with Piner, Moore refers to a woman he arrested as the N-word and says she needed a bullet in her head right then. Donnie Williams is the department's new police chief. He fired the officers on his first day.
When you talk about killing people in generations of people.
All right, Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, Wahar, Rakah, Kodash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders, a great millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in His work. And as always, want to say shalom to the believers, the Hakim as well as the Akwath, which will be you brothers along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, this lesson right here is going to be pretty much continuing in the spirit and theme of prophecy, and as projected, the things that was written and foretold in the Holy Scriptures to come to pass here in the latter days are now being brought more and more to the forefront, and being made manifest and has come abroad. Pretty much truth has overcome, in the spirit of lies and deceit and falsehood is now being quenched and overwhelmed by the truth of the Bible, which consists of not only the revelation, if you will, of the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans as being the true biblical Israelites, but also the unveiling of the so-called white man, as being the devil and Satan, which, by the way, when you go into that word Satan, the Hebrew word that would be Shaitan, which translates to adversary. This man is adverse to the tribes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this idea, when first presented, was shunned and rejected by our people. We was viewed as pretty much nothing more than a band of disgruntled so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who vicariously act out, our hate towards the so-called white man as using the Bible as a means to vent, and this was a foreign idea. We using the very book that you people use as a banner for love, to bring everybody together, where we're using this very same book to promote hate, which is in harmony with the scriptures, man. Just read the book of Malachi, the 1st chapter, the 1st verse down to the 4th verse. Okay, Psalms 139 and 21, and this has proven to be somewhat of a stumbling block to our people. The idea that we push hate and use the Bible as the platform to do so, okay? And it's understandable, when you really take a step back and look at it, why people would be reluctant, if you will, to, subscribe to what we teach. It's not always easy to dance to a new song, but as time has progressed, the Lord is showing you, okay, that this man is your enemy. If you don't believe us, there's going to come a point where this man is going to show you that he is your enemy, man. As it is written, he shall change his countenance. Okay, also when you read the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, it tells you how this man is going to come down with great wrath, okay? So this man is your enemy. He's your natural born enemy, pursuant to the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. And there's nothing you can do to rehabilitate this man. He's going to show himself, okay? It's woven in his DNA, is a part of his makeup to hate you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the opening clip was a testament of that, man. As if we needed that. There's plenty of evidence, man. It's well documented, the hatred and disdain that this man had for you. Just watch one of these period pieces, 12 Years a Slave, okay, or Roots, all right? One of these movies or documentaries dedicated to slavery. See that? But as it were, the Lord in his mercy is revealing this man. This is the time where this man is being revealed as the devil and Satan. Again, you got to remember that word Satan translates to adversary, man. So the Lord is now revealing this man as being your enemy. Matter of fact, let's start off there in the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. And starting at the 3rd verse, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Yeah, and the key word there is man. All right, because you have a lot of those amongst you out there, especially amongst Christianity, you know, who claim to build your foundation off the scriptures, where you would project the enemy as being some guy in the underworld, you know, who's waiting to torment your soul forever and ever in the afterlife. Well, according to the scripture we just read, it said, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed. See, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, you know? And through a process of elimination, the conclusion of the matter would be the so-called white man. There's no other alternative, man, no other avenue you could take, man. All roads point to Esau as being the son of perdition. When you go into the word perdition, it means destruction. All right, the earth has been single-handedly destroyed under the watch of the so-called white man. The ecosystem is thrown off, you know? You got GMO foods. The earth is not yielding its fruit to this man or its strength to this man. You got animals on the brinks of an extinction. Shit, you got animals that's already classified as extinct under this man watch. You got deforestation, where these devils is cutting down the trees at an alarming rate, when common sense tells you that the trees contribute to life. They give off oxygen, man. So this would be that son of perdition, that man of sin. See? Verse 4, it said, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. Yeah, and this, again, translates to Esau. This man indeed has opposed, which that word goes back to adverse, right? He has indeed opposed and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High. Case in point, when you consider the Big Bang Theory, man, that's this devil in his pride and his feeble attempt to somehow offset the idea of another power, man. Show you the diabolical mind of this devil, man. See, again, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God or the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And who is guilty of this offense right here? None other than the so-called white man. You don't see those Moabites, the so-called Chinese, depicting the son of God as being a so-called Chinese man, you know, or Ham, these so-called Africans, or these Arabs, and so on and so forth. The so-called white man took it upon himself to show himself as the Most High. You have depictions, images of the so-called white man as the Most High, the angels as being so-called white little naked babies, man. That's blasphemy, man. All right? And the son of the Most High himself as being depicted as a so-called white man. He's guilty of that offense. Again, it says, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. You can't get around that. So-called white man is guilty of that, man. You know, and there's nothing more than white supremacy. The driving force behind Christianity in the modern sense of the word, these different depictions, these paintings, and even in these movies, you know, different movies concerning the patriots of the Bible, our forefathers, King David or King Solomon, the 10 Commandments being shown as so-called white men. Well, that's nothing more than a form of white supremacy right there, all right? And it contributes to psychological warfare, because if you see something enough, then you will receive it or embrace it and accept it as being truth. See? Reading on, it says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. See? That he might be revealed in his time. And certainly we're in that time. This is the time reserved where this man is being revealed. Indeed, let's click on this word, revealed. All right. This will be the pronunciation in the Greek.
Strong's G601, apocalypto. Apocalypto.
Yeah, it says to uncover. See? To uncover. Lay open what has been veiled or covered up. See? To lay open what has been veiled or covered up. Yeah, when you consider the so-called white man, this man has exhausted a lot of energy, time, money, and resources into covering up his true identity. See that? That's why this man comes under the banner of being an American or Swedish, French, British, Russian, Australian, when his true nationality, according to the Bible, would be the nation of Edom. Well, guess what? We're in a time where the Lord is disclosing that information. See that? And he can no longer run from his true identity. You know, when you consider the men of Yahweh, outside of prophets, we bringing out this information, and it's all an effort to, on the one hand, you know, associate and align the children of Israel with the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And on the flip side, to reveal the so-called white man as being the devil, man. See? And this man is uncomfortable with that. This man is uncomfortable with truth. He's more comfortable with dealing behind the shroud of secrecy and deception, you know, and operating in the shadows. Well, we're in a time where truth has been thrust into the forefront, and it's all an effort to serve the purpose of revealing the things in the dark. Matter of fact, let me grab a quick precept, and we're going to go back. It's the book of Luke, the 8th chapter, in the 17th verse. It says, "For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad." And again, this serves on both fronts. You know, the children of Israel being associated with the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that information was hid. See that? And that's spoken of in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter, where our Lord referred to us as his hidden ones. See that? But also in relation to the so-called white man being revealed as the devil and Satan. You can't forget about Satan, man. Which again, when you go into that word Satan, it translates to adversary. And the opening clip was a testament of that. See? So on all fronts, this man is being revealed. You know, not only by the prophets, but circumstance. You know, you got all these cameras picking up these different racial rants. You got Karens running wild, man. You know, Karen gone wild. You see, you got police officers who were sworn to protect and serve, and they been busted, you know, on recordings as saying they want to put bullets in the head of you so-called Negroes, man. You know, talking about buying AR-15s and new assault rifles to suffice them in the coming race war, and how they can't wait to put you niggas to death. See? Well, that's a form of the adversary being revealed. See? And they can no longer hide who they really are. Why? Because again, we're in a time where truth has settled here on the planet Earth. Matter of fact, let me grab another quick precept before we go back and come to mind. It's the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, and starting at the 27th verse. It says, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched." And that's the time we're in. See, we're in a time where truth is having its way here on the planet Earth, man. Whereas in time past, it was dominated by the spirit of falsehood and deceit and lies. And why is that? Because the so-called white man, the devil himself, was in power. But now you're witnessing a transition of power. See? So the very thing that he held fast to is being taken from him. That attribute of pushing out deception is being overcome by this truth. Again, for evil shall be put out and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. Okay, the so-called white man. And the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. See, and that's what you're witnessing right now. This truth being declared. Which this truth is powerful, man. You know, it's an actual entity. It's a vibration, man. The day that the Lord allowed for this truth to have free course, then that's when you begin to see, you know, these devils get busted on camera, you know, being recorded, going on racial rants. You have prominent figures as well. You know, the governor down here in Alabama, Kay Ivey, I think it was last year, year and a half. She got busted, man, with the whole blackface scandal, man. You know, she had to try to explain it away. You know, you had the prime minister up in Canada. He got busted, the governor in Virginia, with the blackface scandal. You got certain prominent figures who was recorded, you know, making racial slurs and going on racial rants. Why is that? Because the spirit of truth, that's an actual entity. That's a vibration. Truth has settled here on the planet Earth. See that? So when you go back here to the definitions again for this word revealed, because the scriptures say this man would be revealed in his time. And we're actually in that time. So again, it says to uncover, lay open where has been veiled or covered up, disclose, see? Make bare, to make bare. Yeah, this man can no longer cover up who he is, man. He's been made bare. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick before we move on. This is the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter, in the 10th verse. It says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places. Yeah, and the two words that should jump out right here is bare and uncover, which those two words was in the definition for reveal. You know, again, it says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. See, and he shall not be able to hide himself. Yeah, meaning this man can't continue to play it off any longer, man. Okay, he's not going to be able to control who he is, man. It's woven in his DNA to hate you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And that hate, when it's on display, pretty much contributes to this man being revealed. See, for the brothers, you know, and the sisters, the serious-minded, those who are really spiritually invested in this thing, when you come into this thing and become acclimated, rooted, and grounded, then, you know, wisdom and knowledge replaces emotions, you know? You're more rational. So really, you shouldn't get all messed up when you see these devils show who they are, man. When they go on these racial rants, they make these racial slurs. You see these Karens, all right? And in this case, you hear these devils threatening our people. Well, really, you should thank Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for fulfilling the prophecy concerning this man being revealed as our enemy, man. See that? Again, it says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. See that? This man can't control who he is. He can't control that hatred that he has, right? He can't continue to hide who he is, man. See? And he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled. Yeah, and that's the time we're in now, all right? And his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. See? And that's going to be ultimately the fate of the so-called white man. You know, as much as they scratch and claw tooth and nails to try to retain their power, it's going to be taken from them. See that? So now let's go back to this definition for the word revealed. It says to uncover, lay open where has been veiled or covered up, disclose, make bare. We just read that in the book of Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. All right, how the Lord will make this man bare and he will no longer be able to hide himself. See? It says to make known, make manifest, disclose what before what was unknown. See? And this is what this truth was set up to do. All right? It serves the purpose to bring clarity to the unknown. And a part of that is the revelation of this devil, the identifying and targeting of the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right? So with that, I wanted to share a little information with you all. And the source would be Fox. All right? Fox News, right? Which this information broke as of 16 hours ago, which would make it fresh off the press, if you will. And it reads, Trump signs executive order to protect American monuments, memorials, and statues, which, by the way, when you go into that word memorial, it translates to memory. So these different monuments and statues is nothing more than a reminder, if you will, to the so-called white man of the time when he had us in subjection. And that's not to say that we're not yet to this day in our captivity, but that was a time where this subjection, if you will, was more excessive and blatant. You know, it's well documented how the so-called white man would drag you off into these public squares and courts, you know, and hang you, castrate you, all right, rape and ravish your women. which these devils, they long for the day where they can revisit that time in history, man. They lust and desire is to hang a damn noose around your neck. And these different monuments and memorials is a testament of that. See? So when you read into this, it says President Trump announced Friday that he signed an executive order to protect American monuments, memorials, and statues, which, by the way, I want to just throw this out there, man. We don't give a damn either way, you know? Whether you leave them up, take them down, hell, you can erect more statues, man. Why? Because we understand perfectly clear that those statues is going to be burnt up right along with America, you know, and everything in it. See? And no matter what executive order you sign, that will in no wise somehow offset the prophecies, man. Okay? Which according to biblical prophecy, this place America is going to be destroyed. Okay, the so-called white man is going to be violently overthrown and stormed with his elites. They will be the first fruits of slaves, man, in the kingdom of heaven. See? So we don't give a damn, you know, either way, whether these statues or these monuments continue to stand or not. See? Again, it says President Trump announced Friday that he signed an executive order to protect American monuments, memorials, and statues, and threaten those who try to pull them down with long prison time. Yes, so not only did Trump sign off on protecting these different monuments and statues, but he went as far as threatening you with long prison time if you attempted to take them down. So pretty much he drew his line in the sand. Okay? He have taken his stance, right? It says, I just had the privilege of signing a very strong executive order. Yes, so this was a privilege to Trump, you know, to keep the memory alive of these different statues and monuments, which pretty much tells a tale of when these devils committed these different crimes and atrocities against the children of Israel. See? It says, I just had the privilege of signing a very strong executive order protecting American monuments, memorials, and statues and combating recent criminal violence. Trump tweeted long prison terms for these lawless acts against our great country, which this country and what made this country great was at the expense of the blood of the children of Israel. Okay? So now, when you go to the book of Psalms, the 50th chapter, and starting at the 16th verse, it pretty much proves that what Trump just did was an indictment against him, you know? And pretty much all you so-called white people. You know, you have right now, for an example, going on in NASCAR, where they taking down the Confederate flags, where the so-called white man, you so-called white people losing it, man. You losing your mind over the Confederate flag being taken down, which we all know what it stands for, see? And their whole thing is not about hate, it's about heritage. Well, that in itself is an indictment against you, man. Proving that you are your forefathers and you pretty much signed off on what they did to the children of Israel. See that? So this is the book of Psalms, the 50th chapter, starting at the 16th verse. It says, but unto the wicked, the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? So we see right here that this is geared towards the wicked, which we all should know by now will be the so-called white man. See? Verse 17, seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him. Let's read this again. When thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him. All right? And that's where this guy Trump comes in, and him signing off on protecting these statues, you know, which features Christopher Columbus. That guy was a thief, man. Andrew Jackson, you know? But you consented with him by signing off on keeping that memory alive, you know, by erecting a statue of these criminals and celebrating these devils. That's you pretty much consenting with a thief. Again, it says, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him. Yeah, that word consentest means to agree. So in essence, you're agreeing with what your forefathers did, and it shows you the hypocrisy of these devils. The whole thing is, well, we don't agree with what our forefathers did. But by you stirring up all this activity, you know, you're restless because these different statues being taken down. Again, I mentioned the Confederate flag, you know, being barred from NASCAR races. And the so-called white man is losing it. Well, that's you in a roundabout way consenting with a thief, consenting with what your forefathers did. See, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, see, and has been partaker with adulterers. Yeah, so by you consenting with them, you're a partaker of their crimes. Why? Because you are your forefathers. See? So again, what we're witnessing right now is monumental in the fact that the Lord has now begun to reveal this devil. This is the time where he's being revealed. And why is this such a beautiful moment? Because what's next? The sentencing and the judgment, man. Okay, when you consider a criminal, before he can be judged or sentenced, first he has to be identified and targeted. He has to be revealed. See, and that's the time we're in. So what's next? The stage of sentencing. All right? This man has been brought up on all sorts of charges. The evidence is overwhelming. So what's next? This man is going to be judged, which is going to consist of the destruction of America and him going into captivity in the kingdom of heaven under the children of Israel. So y'all just want to touch on that, Lord willing. It was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.